On a chilly autumn evening in 1974, in the quiet suburban town of Wichita, Kansas, a gruesome discovery sent shockwaves through the community. 25-year-old Vicki Weigel, a young mother of two, lay brutally murdered in her home, her body bound with rope, her face disfigured beyond recognition. The investigation into Vicki's murder was led by Detective Ken Landwehr and the Wichita Police Department, with assistance from the FBI. As they scoured the crime scene, they found a cryptic message scrawled on the wall in red paint: BTK kills 6. The initials stood for bind, torture, kill, and the police knew they were dealing with a cunning and calculating serial killer. Over the next 17 years, BTK would strike again and again, leaving a trail of bloodshed and terror in his wake. 10 people would ultimately fall victim to his brutal tactics, their lives senselessly cut short by a monster who seemed to always be one step ahead of the law. But as the bodies piled up, so did the evidence, and the police began to piece together a chilling portrait of their killer. Detectives Landwehr and his team worked tirelessly to track down BTK, following a multitude of leads and interviewing countless suspects. Early on, they focused on a man named Dennis Rader, a quiet, unassuming church leader who seemed to be living a perfectly ordinary life in the suburbs. But as the investigation continued, Rader's behavior became increasingly suspicious, and the police began to suspect that they had their man. Rader's wife, Paula, reported that he would often stay up late at night, typing away on his computer, but when questioned, he claimed to be working on church newsletters. Rader's alibis were shaky at best, and his writing style seemed to match the cryptic messages sent by BTK. A handwriting expert, Dr. Herbert Leon McDonnell, compared Rader's handwriting to the BTK letters and determined that they were a match. But it wasn't until 2005, nearly 2 decades after the last BTK murder, that the case finally began to unravel. A floppy disk was discovered in a park, containing a message from BTK, along with a file labeled Dennis Rader. The file included information about Rader's family, including the names of his children, which seemed to suggest that the killer was someone close to the victims. The police knew they had their killer. As the police dug deeper, they discovered a shocking truth: Dennis Rader, the quiet church leader, was leading a double life. By day, he was a devoted husband and father, a pillar of his community. But by night, he was a monster, a serial killer who had been taunting the police for years. The floppy disk, it seemed, was the final piece of a puzzle that had been hiding in plain sight all along. Rader was arrested on February 25, 2005, and charged with the murders of Vicki Weigel and 4 others. His trial was a sensationalized media event, with the world watching as the quiet suburbanite was exposed as a ruthless killer. In 2005, Rader was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms in prison, a fate that was met with widespread relief in the community. As the dust settled on the BTK case, the people of Wichita, Kansas, breathed a collective sigh of relief. The monster who had haunted their town for so long was finally behind bars, and justice had been served. But the case also raised questions about the nature of evil, and how it can hide in plain sight. How many more Dennis Raders are out there, living secret lives of terror and deception? Follow Texas Case Archive for more true crime,